Hey, welcome to Greenlight. So this week we're talking about Blu-ray releases, and we also have an announcement after my intro on who won this last week's giveaway. Our last video we were talking about Terminator Salvation. I think FedEx is here. So we were talking about not Salvation, but Terminator Salvation is the giveaway. We were talking about Terminator Dark Fate, and the Salvation movie code was given away today. So today we have Doctor Sleep, Playing with Fire, and Waves as the new Blu-ray releases this week. So let's get started. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this weekend's Super Bowl out here in Miami, Florida. I also have a playlist with all the trailers that were released during the Super Bowl, and I also have a video talking about the ones that were coming out and that were rumored to come out as well. So let me know in those comments below or in the comments below of this video if you enjoyed those trailers and if there's one that you like the most, a movie you're looking forward to. So our first film we're talking about is Dr. Sleep. But quickly, I'm going to give a shout out to Francisco. Let's see. I have him on Instagram here, Francisco Zarco. Thank you for entering into our contest this past week. You won the movie code to Terminator Salvation. It's an older film. I don't give away all the new films, but anything that's tied to anything that week that has come out. So last week was Terminator Dark Fate. So I had a Terminator movie giveaway idea to give you guys. So it was perfect to bring this out now at this moment. So congratulations. And for all of you next time, don't forget to put your Instagram accounts on the bottom. You see how you have mine right here, and give your best comment. You know, you just have to do those two things, and then you're entered into the contest. So our first one we're going to talk about first Blu-ray, because we have a bunch this week. And speaking of which, they all have the back ends on here. So we're full up today. This is probably the most Blu-rays I've had to do. There's only like maybe a couple or so you'll see that we don't have the back end for. But let's get started with Doctor Strange. Let's do this first. First, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you enjoy content like this every week, we talk about Blu-ray releases as well as their special features and how they can help you as a filmmaker and what to expect from what they're writing in the back of these Blu-rays and DVDs. So with that being said, now let's get the first one up, which is Dr. Sleep. Let me shrink this. Here. There we go. So our first one here is Dr. Sleep. This is the front cover of the 4K Blu-ray of Dr. Sleep. It has a director's cut on the Blu-ray as well. This film was pretty good. I mean, some of it was pretty interesting. I'm a huge fan of the original Shining. I know this is a sequel from the book, the sequel book to the book of The Shining. So this is the continuation of Danny growing up. And I thought it was a pretty good rendition. It was a little out there, but out of me and my wife kind of enjoy the Outsiders right now, which is a Stephen King series, limited series on HBO going on right now. So we're big fans of Stephen King's, and we watch anything that came from a book of his. His stories are really they're really far-fetched, but it's great to see great storytelling, at its finest. So we have a back end for this as well. There was a lot of really cool tricks that they done in camera, as well as VFX stuff and stuff like that to look forward to when you purchase this Blu-ray. You can check out those documentaries. So from what I see here, we have the back end here. There's a Warner Brothers releasing. I'm going to zoom in quick. I'll let you see the back end right there. And then we'll zoom in real quick. All right, let's zoom in. So the first thing I see here automatically is From Shining to Sleep. Author Stephen King and director, screenwriter Mike Flanagan look back at the original novel and classic film to discuss how they took on the sequel, which is really cool because there's a lot of shout outs to the film itself that the director has done. Even though Stephen King renounces the movie The Shining, he didn't much like the Stanley Kubrick version. I'm a big Stanley Kubrick fan. A lot of the reasons why I've jumped on Stephen King so many years is because of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. That movie was pretty out there, and I like the supernatural mystery of it. Like, supernatural thrillers are a big thing for me and my wife. We love watching anything like that, and they keep the mystery going even all the way to the end of the film or the end of the series. We like that, we find out our answers from the beginning. We find out our answers from the beginning, and then we get like a different element of the mystery, or it growing and festering into our heads, which is everything in storytelling. So that's something great to learn from, how to definitely bring a book to screen, as well as how to create a dense story for your own film. So this is great for any filmmaker to check out, especially writer-directors, and directors that may be dealing with novels that they can take on and make into a short film. I have a friend of mine who actually took one of the short Stephen King stories and turned it into a short film. I don't believe he's done with it just yet, but that's something that you can look forward to as an independent filmmaker, or as a new filmmaker. You could potentially get a Stephen King property and create a film out of it. As long as you're a student, I believe you don't have to pay anything back, or as long as you're not making anything off of it as well. The next thing I see here is The Making of Dr. Sleep, A New Vision. So when they say stuff like that, that's automatically going to be a documentary that could be 30 to 40 minutes, because since there's another one called Return to the Overlook, which is the Overlook Hotel from the original The Shining, Danny's character returns there to kind of find where everything kind of resides, not to give anything away. So these are already 3 separate documentaries on how to make a film, which is great for any of you filmmakers out there, or horror filmmakers and special effects and stuff like that you can see, especially acting, which is something major in these behind the scenes, how directors work with actors as well as their crew. So the Return to the Overlook Hotel, that little documentary, that could be 20, 30 minutes. That definitely looks like it could go into the art direction and how they were able to bring the Overlook Hotel back to life again, which is not something we haven't seen done over and over. I've seen them do it in Ready Player One, and then we saw it in over this weekend with the Mountain Dew commercial. There was a Mountain Dew commercial where they were making fun of The Shining, and a whole room was remade, and they made it into The Shining. So people love that film, and they love, especially filmmakers. It means a lot to us in the industry, and what um, that has done for us as creatives uh, since the Stanley Kubrick version has come out. And quickly after this, let's go into the steel bookcase. Oh, there we go. Dr. Sleep's steel bookcase. This is the Best Buy steel bookcase. Looks really cool. I love how it's got elements of The Shining on it there. It's pretty cool. And then Ewan McGregor as Danny. Looking forward to Ewan McGregor to see him more in the, excuse me, sorry. In the future. He is supposed to play Obi-Wan Kenobi for Disney Plus, a Star Wars series, which I'm hoping it would feel a lot more like The Mandalorian. But they've had some production setback. I believe they're just bringing it out later than we expect. So moving on, this is our next film to come out this week on Blu-ray. It's Playing with Fire, John Cena film. It's a family film. And to thank Blu-ray Dan for posting the back end of this, and we're able to have the back end for this film and I believe a couple other films. But the rest of them are all come from Bluray.com. So we're going to move into the back end real quick here. Love you, baby. Thank you. As you can see there, that's the back part of the Blu-ray, and I have a zoomed in version to show you in a second. Alright, let's zoom this in. Alright, so from what I see here, automatically the special features include story time with John Cena, which seems like this reminds me of the movie The Pacifier kind of thing, but without the spying and Vin Diesel and all that stuff. But it looks like he's a firefighter that ends up taking care of some kids and doing something he never expected to do in his life, I guess. That's what it looks like, that type of storyline. I could be wrong. It didn't really much interest us just yet. My son is too young. He has to watch anything that has 3D animation, let alone we can barely even see 2D sometimes. But sometimes we sneak him in there, some classic Disney 2D films that we sneak in there and he likes. I mean, he enjoys it while it's on and doesn't complain as long as we're watching a kid's film, right? So from what I see here, there's deleted scenes, bloopers, outtakes, and more. The and more usually pertains to production stills and trailers, maybe even TV spots. So not much of like behind the scenes here. The story time with John Cena seems like an extra feature just for the Blu-ray, and more time with John Cena doing family stuff, which is always interesting. And he's coming out with Fast and Furious 9, and he's going to be the new villain. So shout outs to him for that. I look forward to seeing that. I liked him in Bumblebee. So did my wife. We saw Bumblebee recently on Hulu. So he's got a great career ahead of him. But the deleted scenes and the bloopers, well, let's say the deleted scenes automatically could teach you what they didn't include in the final cut of the film. Sometimes even stuff that's in the final draft of any screenplay will make it into actually getting filmed. So sometimes when they get into the editing room, they say that editing the film usually is like the fourth or fifth draft of a screenplay. So, sometimes you'll get stuff in the cutting room floor that'll, not make it in the feature film because it doesn't move the story along, which is a major thing in most films, which is why we get deleted scenes. And bloopers and outtakes is great to see, how, certain mistakes and things that happen. It's good to see how even the big professionals do it, and how they get through mistakes, or outtakes. It shows that they can have fun on set, and not to actually make it more stressful than what it already is, dealing with millions and millions of dollars on set. Okay, so our next film here we have is Last Christmas. So I guess this would be our last Christmas movie we'll be talking about. We shouldn't be getting any more of these for the rest of the month. We're now in February. But this is kind of a bigger rom-com that came out throughout the winter break. So this is Emilia Clarke. I believe she was in Game of Thrones. And then I remember her a lot for Terminator Genesis, and she was playing Sarah Connor in Terminator Genesis. So, and she did a good one. So she was very good. But I don't know her much in Game of Thrones. But shout outs to her for that. We have a backhand for this, obviously. Let's get that up on the screen. There you go. And I'm gonna zoom in here. As you can see, this is a Universal releasing, and they also have some bonus features for any rom-com enthusiasts. I believe this genre needs a little bit more than a little bit more love than it's been getting. I think it needs to be taken up a notch a little bit and changed around. Let me know in the comments below if you think it needs to be, maybe add in a different type of genre in the film. But I'm seeing a name here I recognize a lot though, as in the director's chair. I even see Emma Thompson. I don't remember who she is, but she wrote the screenplay. Paul Feig, I believe he directed Bridesmaids. I believe that was for Universal as well. So he directed Bridesmaids, and I believe the movie was called Spy. It's a comedy too. Let's see. So we have some bonus features with alternate opening and ending. Ooh, interesting. So this film has gone through many versions and many cuts in the editing process, and even blooper reels. We also get a director in vision, which is over here we don't do the train on the table, right? Yeah, we don't do the train on the table. Let's see, director in vision. That's definitely going to get into more on. It looks like since there's a good amount of, and this is Universal. This happens a lot with Universals. Releasing their bonus features. It seems like they have, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little featurettes, which is talking with the actors and talking with the directors, cast and crew on how what their experience was like making this film. So the director is going to be talking probably 15-20 minute little featurette with talks with the director. And then the next thing is Try Not to Laugh, which is most likely talking with the actors and how they were, maybe trying not to laugh on set, or maybe a bunch more things that tend to happen. Oh, he already did, babe, today. And then our next one, I don't believe that could be what it is. Let me know in the comments below if you've seen this behind the scenes. The Try Not to Laugh could be more on all these actors coming from dramas and different genres than comedy. And I know Paul Feig is he's got even a wife that's in comedy. I don't remember her name exactly, but it's it's very much a big part of the director's life. And then there's Pure Golding, which I believe it's a play on words with a character here in the film. And then there's a Amelia recording session. And then we have Amelia recording session, I believe, could be. I don't know if there was a voiceover in this film, but or something to do with that in the film, but it looks like it's another 15-20 minute little featurette. And then Love Letter to London. So that's definitely going to be a featurette about them filming in London and how London was able to take in the production with no problem. Our next thing here I see here is a feature commentary with the director and co-writer Emma Thompson, and much more. Like I always say, when they say "and much more," is usually trailers and production stills and stuff like that, little trinkets type of thing for the film. And the feature commentary is going to be great to find out more about how they were able to create this film, this great romantic comedy. And I'm going to get ready with the next one. Oh, wow. I didn't zoom in here. Let me zoom in here real quick so you can see this up a little closer. And then I'll get the next one ready. Like I said, there is a lot of them to get through real quick. Let's see here. The Good Liars, the next film. So we have Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen together in a feature film, which I've never seen them together in a feature film. So this is called The Good Liar. I believe it's a movie about a lawyer, but can't be too sure exactly what it's about. Let me see back here. I didn't check out the trailer for this film. But let's check out the back end. Let's do this together. All right. So from what I see here, it's a career con man, Roy, which is Ian McKellen, sets his sights on his latest mark, recently widowed Betty, which is Helen Mirren, who's worth millions. And I don't need to read the rest of them right here. I think everyone knows exactly what kind of feature film this is. This looks like it's going to be almost a romantic type suspenseful drama between them two, and I think there's going to be like kind of a romance thing going on. He means to take it all, but as the two grow closer, what should have been another simple swindle becomes a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. In this suspenseful drama about the secrets people keep and the lies they live. Oh wow! So this is an interesting film. I think me and my wife would definitely check this out. Hopefully it'll show up on like Hulu or something like that. If not, we'll look for it. And I already see that there's special features. So let's check this out. It's a Warner Brothers releasing. Warner Brothers are great with drama, especially films like this. And movies like Dr. Sleep. I believe they have like that more classic kind of look. So the first thing I see here is the perfect match inside The Good Liar. So this is definitely going to be a 40 minute documentary. It could be even less of a making of. Because this is a suspenseful drama type of thing, it's a lot more talking and a lot more of dealing with blocking the actors and all that stuff. So you'll be able to learn all that there, including how to develop a story without having action beats throughout, and learning dramatic beats. So if you do write more genre type films, this type of film would be great, so you can see how to work with two major actors. Okay. Yeah, my son totally wants something when things are going on. Then there's deleted scenes, never before seen moments that didn't make it to the screen. So there'll be a couple deleted scenes. You could see as a writer what they cut out and what ends up surviving the cutting room floor. So moving on to our next film here. Our next Blu-ray is Waves. It's an independent feature film, but it's gotten certified fresh from Rotten Tomatoes. So this looks really cool. It's called Waves. I believe it's a romantic film, like a romantic drama film. Let's see the back end, courtesy of Blu-ray Dan here, for bringing out the back end. I'm seeing an actor I already know of, and he's in This Is Us. He seems to pop up in a lot of feature films now, including movies like Black Panther, I believe, and I believe it's Hotel Aramis or something like that. It starts with an A. I could be wrong in butchering that. Just put that in the comments below if you know what film that was. But this man is doing a lot. He's doing a lot nowadays. Let's see here. We zoom in a little bit for our special features. All right. Classic 3-year-olds. He has my wife running around just because he sees that we're doing this, and this is how it is. Like, kids want the attention. So if you put the attention somewhere else, they're going to try and make sure they get it. So this is the special features. So we have audio commentaries with the writer, writer, director, and the actor Calvin Harrison Jr. So I guess they talk about the film, and they talk more about working together. This is great, especially for beginning filmmakers to learn how and what to expect when working with an actor, and how to collaborate as a writer-director with an actor so you can get your vision on screen. Our next thing is Creating Waves, the truth in it all, which is their making of here. This is a Lionsgate releasing, so I'm expecting this to be a 20-30 minute little making of, talking about the film, talking about the topics in this film, getting like all the tidbits of acting and everything like that within there. Dramas are always great to learn on how to deal with human emotions on screen, because people may explain things and stuff like that, but it's not like people break out in song or something like that, like in a musical. They're gonna explain it within action, within dramatical beats and stuff like that. So you're gonna learn all that in here. There's also a Q&A with the director and cast. I believe that's at one of the festivals, probably. I'm not sure which festival that's at, but please check that out and let me know in the comments below what you think. And as always, some of these Blu-rays, they come with deleted scenes. So again, this is great to learn about what doesn't make it to the final cut of the film, because they say in film school you always got to cut your darlings. That's what they call it. That you got to cut your darlings, because even though you think that scene's great, it probably doesn't move the story ahead. So it kind of not necessarily bores the audience, but maybe doesn't give them the right information that they need to get on to the next scene. So with that being said, I'm ready for our next Blu-ray, which is a sequel, kind of a low-key sequel. I didn't hear this coming out, but I've heard of the original film, Dragonheart. This is called Dragonheart Vengeance. Looks like more of a smaller production in comparison to the first one. I haven't seen it myself, and I don't believe I've seen the first one either. I know there was a first one out. So let's check out the back end here, because it's a Universal releasing. and they have a couple special features here from what I see. So from what I see here, it looks like they have pretty good effects. That dragon looks pretty well detailed, especially in the front there. So let's zoom in here real quick. A new legend is the first thing I see here. New legend. So that could be 20, 30 minutes. Since it's Universal, they're not going to give like long ones within each one. If they give multiple behind the scenes, they usually just split them up like this, and then creating Sivith, which I believe is the dragon itself. So that could be a CG VFX documentary. Let me know in the comments below. And then a new legend, definitely it's going to be a behind the scenes and talking about the story with the actors on set. So that's definitely that's definitely something you should expect there. They may not go into complete details on every tidbit, but it's great to see after all of what you learn. Let's say you learn filmmaking online or at film school, it's great to see how the professionals do certain things, and how when you know the rules, you know how to break the rules in the right way, meaning you know how to not use certain things because of your restrictions on your production. So money and all that stuff comes into play as well. So that's something big, especially on a film like this. This is a sequel, but I don't believe it was like a big budgeted sequel itself. I don't even think it went to theaters, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this film and enjoyed the special features, and know that if it did come out in theaters, let me know that it did come out in theaters. Okay, our next film here, it's an anime, but it's in 3D. It's a 3D anime. It's called White Snake. We only have the front end to this one and the next film. These are independent, smaller films and stuff like that, but this is an overseas film. It looks very, very good. I think it's White Snake is I believe it's a Korean folklore type of thing, like story. It's an older story that's been told through generations. So it looks pretty good. Actually, it looks really good. When I saw the trailer, I actually am going to end up seeing this film myself. So please check out that film. Let me know your thoughts on this film. And I'd love to have a conversation about this when I get a chance to checking it out, because I will jump on the comments way down the line just to talk about a film that was talked about in this live stream. So let me know, and I'll be there. All right, so this is interesting. So our next film we have here, we don't have the back end to this one either. It's called Rabid. It's about I believe she's like a face model or something. Something happens where her face gets all messed up in an accident, and then she gets surgery, and then through some stem cell stuff, it changed something about her. I think she ends up eating people or something. I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comments below. But it's it looks like I see a name here, David Cronenberg. It's based on the original film by David Cronenberg. So this is a remake. I usually don't give my own opinions on films and on the films themselves, because we're more of a filmmaking educational channel. But on that filmmaking educational stuff, I believe that a whole remake thing, especially when it's a lower budget, you might as well not remake it at all and just either make a sequel than remaking the film. Even though I sometimes like some of these Disney ones, I still don't believe that they need to do that if it's already there. If you have original stories as an artist and as a creator, you don't need to do that. You don't need to remake your stories. unless there was a short film and you turned it into a feature film or something like that. That makes more sense, because you're expanding the story, not just recreating the same thing over again. So we're going to jump into our next film here, and we also have the back end for this. This is a kid's film, Arctic Dogs. We have this here at the house. We were watching it. I believe it's Jeremy Renner's the main guy, and I think I don't think this is the one where he wants to be a rock star or something like that, but he wants to be the best mail carrier or something. There's no special features to this, but we're gonna thank Blu-ray Dan real quick. Let's show this. It's a Lionsgate releasing, and actually I need to thank Bob here, Bob's movie review for this one actually, and I'll have a link in the description below to his YouTube channel, because he has a YouTube channel as well, and he does a lot of great Blu-ray reviews and unboxings and stuff like that, especially reviews on movies in theaters and stuff. So a little different than what I do normally. So I'm more into like the filmmaking side of things and talking about the special features, which I don't see a lot of YouTubers do on here. Okay, our next film we don't have the back end to, but this brings Nicolas Cage and Kelsey Grammer together. Grand Isle. It looks like it could be like a horror thriller. Kind of looks like that in the cover. I'm not too sure much about this film. Kind of skated by all of us, but since there's an abundance amount of films now out there, not all of them, get past their releases. A lot of people don't hear much about like all these major ones with these major actors all the time coming out. Especially there's a lot coming out in streaming and in Blu-ray and stuff. So with that being said, our next one's kind of in the same boat here. Bruce Willis has a film called Trauma Center, and he's been coming out with a lot of feature films going straight to Blu-ray and streaming and stuff like that, that don't get to see theaters, which is not a big deal nowadays, because now we get abundance amount of every kind of film. We get good indie films, and everybody gets to see every film, and they don't get lost because a film was only released on one side of the world. No, we see all the films now, which I think is a great part of the world. There's also now then a flood of filmmakers out there making films and releasing them. So, it's an interesting world we live in now for filmmakers. So I have a back end here, but there's no special features. This is thanks to Blu-ray Dan here, and we'll have a link in the description below to his Instagram, I believe, and I think he does have a YouTube channel, but I'll have his Instagram linked up there because I don't think he has one. I forget if he does or not. But this is the back end here, as you can see. And I'm going to get the next one ready. Looks pretty interesting. It looks like a suspense thriller. And our next one here, it looks like it's a live action film of probably an anime. It's called Kingdom, the movie. So this is the movie version of Kingdom, which could be an anime, a comic. Let me know down below if this was even like a TV series or something. I'm not too sure much about it. There's not a lot out there about this film, but all the films that I talk about here, in the description below, we have IMDb links even to this film on there as well. There's some information of what the film's about, and but it didn't say that it was coming from a TV series or not. But let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong about that, and let's have a conversation about it. Looks real interesting. And then we have here our next film. Get it ready. This is looks like a grindhouse horror film, and we have the back end to this one as well. No special features though. It's called 1031 Part 2. So this is a Part 2 to the first one. I never even heard of the first one, but let me know down below in the comments what you think. This is a great type of like independent. You see these type of independent horror films all the time. Yeah, these grindhouse type features and stuff like that. This is not a not unrated film. It's not rated at all. On the bottom there, let's look at the back here, real quick. There's a weird like killer clowns look there, kind of crazy. So let me get the next film going. This is a documentary. I just realized that this documentary, like a little while ago, is about Lil Peep. He's a rapper. I think he passed away or something, or he died. Let me know in the comments below. But this is about him and his influences in the bending the genre of music and stuff like that, and blending them together and stuff like that. So let me know in the comments below if you're a fan of Lil Peep and if you know about his influence. I'm a big hip hop head, but I don't believe I've heard anything from him. I've heard his name before, but I haven't looked into him like that. So let me know in the comments below if you've seen this documentary as well. These type of documentaries are great to check out if they're doing a lot more behind the scenes type of stuff, maybe on his album or something. Whenever they do stuff like that, that's good to see, an overview of what to expect and how to, run your own production or sound, as well as even like music if you're into music and creating music. Our next film here we're going to talk about, put this up now. It's After Class. This is there was another title to this. I forget what it was called, but in the description below you'll see IMDb links, and the IMDb link for this film, it's gonna take you to IMDb, and you'll see under it says the original name for it. There was another name for it. I forget what it was called, but I'm like, okay, well, why is there so many names for this film? But the film has Justin Long and a lot of notable faces. Even this Kate Berlant. I didn't even know her name, but I've seen her face before and stuff. I just can't recall what they were. But it looks like it's been like dramatic comedies just like this one. But there's no like special features or anything like that. So just showing you the back end on that one. And let me know in the comments below if you checked out this film. Our next one that I got ready here, it's a documentary. It's called Sisu. Sisu, I believe, is about a bunch of bicyclists, and it's a documentary. Again, I've talked about documentaries here before. Documentaries nowadays are starting to feel almost like feature films, especially if they cover a certain event or something going on. Like that last one I think I talked about either last week or the week before, where a family was crossing, I believe they were crossing the border of Iran or Iraq, and they were going through war territories and stuff like that with their family, and their father recorded all of this on a cell phone and put it together and made a documentary. And that's beautiful. That's the type of stuff that you want from film, and this is why film is going through a transition, just like music is going through a transition, which is why we have so many feature films nowadays. But I do believe that if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all type of thing. Well, if you don't have a real story to tell, and that I feel as a filmmaker, I feel like if it's not a story that elevates us as human beings or pushes the boundaries of our minds and gets us thinking, then it may not be worth checking out, So this is the back end real quick on here. Probably learn a lot about dedication and pursuing something more than yourself within this documentary when it comes to these cyclists. Cyclists that are really into bike riding, it's a lifestyle. It's a whole thing. So check that out. Love documentaries or anything about people not only following their passions but pursuing something more than themselves. It's always good to believe in that kind of stuff. Our next film is The Mandela Effect. It's a lower budget, mind-bending thriller about, I believe the Mandela Effect is an internet thing where it's like, in the trailer, from what I saw, it was talking about how it's an internet conspiracy or something like that, and this man gets kind of involved in it a little too much, and then gets a little lost in what it all means and everything like that. This is a Gravitas Ventures releasing, and I've talked about Gravitas Ventures before. As an independent filmmaker, it's a little easier to reach them, but with all the choices that we have for distribution, I'm a micro budget filmmaker currently right now in the independent world, but I'm using other options than using a third-party distribution company. I've talked about this with Indie Film Hustle's Alex Ferrari, and we've talked about this a lot. And he has his reserves with Gravitas Ventures as well. But check them out. Last I've talked with them was about a year or so ago, and they were very open and very open to sharing how their operations work and everything like that. So, they've treated me very nice, and I hope they do that for you as well. So check that out. I'm going to zoom in real quick here because there's actually a bonus feature in a sense. It's a bonus commentary track included in here. An audio commentary with the filmmakers. So you get the director and everybody involved in the film. I believe that it's the writer. Yeah. I think, he's also the writer, director. So just the filmmakers in general, including the producers and stuff like that, them talking about how they got this thriller made. There's some actors' faces here that I recognize. I wouldn't say they're big prominent actors, but they're actors that are big in television. So getting their feature film break here. And with this type of thriller, this is great. The trailer looked amazing. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking this out myself. Okay, our next one here, I don't know what kind of movie this is. I'm thinking it's a documentary. No, it's a romantic comedy. Ditched after a perfect date, Peter turns to an online dating site guaranteed to find his perfect match, but notices strange similarities between all his matches and that first amazing date. So I guess every date that this person goes on, from what you can see here, all the sweaters and stuff like that, that's already the tie into that one perfect person that he has already met, and he's questioning it. Sometimes questioning your fate, is something that's not very good. Sometimes when it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and there's no way of changing that. And the universe is always going to speak on that. This is talking about that. Here's Gravitas Ventures releasing as well. So let's check out the back end real quick. There's no making of here, from what I see, but there's the synopsis, and you get more of an idea of what I was talking about, of what the story is about. So I'll let you enjoy that for a couple seconds and bring myself back on here. So thank you for joining me this week. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Instagram as well. Check out all the links in the description. that are talking about all these films. All the IMDb's for all these films are down in the description below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for videos like this every week. We also do filmmaking videos here and there. I have an essential series playlist as well. And if you haven't seen all the trailers to the Super Bowl, all the movie trailers to look forward to for this year that came out in the Super Bowl, check that out as well. I'll leave it with the link up top if you haven't seen that already in the playback. So you can check out the video that I did about those trailers leading into the playlist as well. So I even have the playlist in there as well if you want to just jump into the playlist. But stay tuned, and I'll see you here next week.